Today's highlighted coin is the 2025 DOGE cuts. Elon Musk's DOGE cuts, federal waste, fraud, and fiscal responsibility. Elon Musk has graciously taken time away from his flourishing businesses to help get the U.S. federal government expenditures under control. He and his DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency team, have accomplished what no one in recent memory has been able to do. He is cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. Chris's 2025 coin, DOGE Cuts, memorializes an event which exemplifies Elon Musk's efforts. The red chainsaw was given to him at the CPAC convention in Maryland on February 20, 2025. It was given to him by another man who also understands the existential threat posed by a recalcitrant federal bureaucracy, the president of Argentina, Javier Milei. In 2024, during his first term in office, Milei cut his country's government spending by 30% and eventually balanced the federal budget too. Musk has been following in Milei's footsteps and has spent months removing expensive projects from the never-ending list of inexplicable contracts that the federal government has undertaken. Projects which, if they were put up for a vote by the tax-paying citizenry of this country, would be rejected out of hand. For instance, $2 million went for sex changes operations in Guatemala, $20 million went for establishing a Sesame Street show in Iraq, and $6 million went to fund tourism in Egypt. If you do the math, $1 million alone represents the combined annual median salary for 16 American workers. This is a scandalous level of waste when you consider how hard it is for Americans to make ends meet. For instance, in Wayne County in northeast Pennsylvania, beautiful Victorian farmhouses are literally collapsing into the ground for lack of funds to keep them painted or roofed. Real Americans are suffering, while the federal bureaucrats heartlessly dance on their graves. Thanks to Elon Musk, it is now obvious to all of those same Americans that while they were struggling to work and pay their taxes as part of their agreement with the government, the members of the government who were responsible for the distribution of those very same tax dollars were squandering their tax dollars like drunken sailors. And worse yet, most of these expenditures had nothing to do with the responsibilities which the Founding Fathers vested to the federal government when they established it. In fact, when the federal government was created in 1789, it had only three duties: print the money, set foreign policy, and defend the country from foreign invaders. That's it. This accomplishment was, in and of itself, an amazing feat of political prowess. James Madison, George Washington, and Alexander Hamilton envisioned something that had never been attempted before, and through their combined personal genius and their astounding political capabilities, they accomplished the unachievable. They united dissimilar Americans into one nation under God. This miracle all took place at the Philadelphia State House in the sweltering summer heat, when these three brilliant men were able to convince the 55 varied and diverse delegates to the Constitutional Convention to start again and unite as one big, beautiful country. This was a truly remarkable scenario because at the time our original 13 states were so misaligned politically, economically, and traditionally that the original 1779 Articles of Confederation had to be abandoned and reinvented. Those same Founding Fathers would today be shocked and appalled to discover that their hotly debated efforts to strictly limit the powers of the federal government have been butchered. The recent expansion of the federal government's original intent has been so blatantly abused, broadly expanded, and deliberately twisted that it's barely recognizable. Granted, Congress is responsible for much of the problem, including its lack of bureaucratic oversight, but we can't excuse the entrenched bureaucrats either. Today, our federal deficit is now at an astounding $37 billion, which occurred when entrenched and unelected self-aggrandizing federal bureaucrats began to go on a spending spree. They, and many politicians, began to include their pet projects in their budgets, including lashing millions of our hard-earned tax dollars on themselves. These despicable expenditures included an agriculture department official who spent $60,000 on business class tickets, which are 5 times as expensive as coach, on business trips to Europe, and the 8 members of the State Department official's family who flew business class to Eastern Europe from Washington as part of a permanent change of assignment. They squandered $46,000 in airline tickets that should have cost $12,000. And keep in mind that the average annual median income in the United States is $62,000. These are outrageous expenditures that the average family would never deem to incur. No one can deny that Elon Musk is a genius, or that he is a devoted and patriotic American who wants everyone to enjoy the prospect of attaining the American dream, just like he did. But just as importantly, he brings to the table his amazing talent as a successful businessman, which means he knows the value of a dollar. So who better to determine which government expenses are appropriate and which are not? Musk's efforts in 2025 to assemble and guide the group of tech, finance, and business geniuses he recruited for the DOGE team, all of whom are working for free, is nearly as amazing as was the garnering together of the diverse delegates to the first Constitutional Convention. Today, these groundbreakers are simply trying to rein in the toxic, explosive, and mushrooming cost of the federal government, which the Founding Fathers were also determined to limit and restrict. So, although separated by more than 200 years, both groups of men share the same goals: keep the federal government small, limited in scope, and controllable. And despite the separation of centuries, the same principles of economics still prevail. Don't spend what you don't have, because it will destroy your future. Whether they were living in the colonial era or toiling away today, all of these brilliant men understood and understand that allowing the federal bureaucracy to expand without limitations will produce the out-of-control monster we have today, a monster that devours the future generations' ability to achieve the American dream, and this should terrify everyone. Elon Musk's Herculean efforts to try and steer the Titanic away from its impending collision with a monstrous iceberg and his selfless contributions towards that goal should be applauded, acclaimed, and admired because, along with President Trump, he is one of our modern founding fathers who has once again courageously set out to accomplish the impossible. Hear, hear. We should pray for Musk's triumph over the federal bureaucracy's avarice because America's children's futures depend on their team's success, so that once again the ability to pursue the American dream becomes a reality.
Chris Dewayne issues 2 new proofs each week, which are available for a limited time. These proofs come in a presentation box with the Certificate of Authenticity, as shown here. They're also available in BU, Brilliant Uncirculated versions, which are only stamped once, and they come in copper as well. You can check out all Chris's Silver Shield proofs and all things Silver Shield on ChrisDewayneSilverShieldCoins.com.